Welcome back to A Moment in History. I'm Seth Udinsky. In our study of history, let's travel back to the ancient world and explore one of the greatest acts of rescue and redemption in human history. This was both a truly historical event in that it really happened, and it was also a completely supernatural occurrence. In other words, the main player and hero in the story was God. Let's go back to perhaps the most pivotal moment in the history of the Jewish people, the Exodus from Egypt. Now, the people of Israel had lived in Egypt for hundreds of years at this time, ever since the family of Jacob the patriarch moved to Egypt to live with Joseph, his favorite son, who had risen to second in command over the kingdom. At first, the people of God were treated well in Egypt, but a new Egyptian pharaoh who did not remember Joseph saw them as a threat to his rule as they grew to great numbers, so he enslaved them. Now, this was the first mass subjugation of the Jewish people in history, but in their distress, God provided a man to lead the people out of Egypt. Moses, born during the wicked Pharaoh's murderous campaign against all Hebrew boys, was spared of death as a baby when his mother placed him in a basket on the Nile River. He was found by one of Pharaoh's daughters and raised in royalty in Pharaoh's house. But he discovered the plight of his people when he witnessed an Egyptian harming an Israelite. He killed the man, which forced him into exile, and there God appeared to him in a burning bush and gave him his life's purpose: lead my people to the promised land. Now, Moses could be a bit of a coward, but God rightly punished him for this, and it's also important to remember that God used him in spite of his cowardice. When Moses told God he was not well spoken, God provided him a mouthpiece in his brother Aaron. The brothers went before Pharaoh and told him to let the people of God go, and when Pharaoh said no, God responded. He sent 10 disasters, which we know as plagues, against the people of Egypt. Now, keep in mind, these were not just plagues against Egypt, but also miracles on behalf of the Israelites. This was God's first mass display of physical power on behalf of his chosen people. Now, he sent 10 plagues against the Egyptians. He turned water into blood. He sent a plague of frogs, one of gnats, swarms of flies, death of livestock, boils, hail, locusts, complete darkness over the land, and finally the worst, the death of every firstborn Egyptian son. After each of the first 9, Pharaoh would not let the people go, but after the 10th, the people of Egypt practically begged the Israelites to get out. So Moses led them out. The people made it to the Red Sea, but were cornered. The Egyptian army, enraged at the plagues and the disaster they caused, was after them to destroy them. So God performed a truly incredible miracle. He parted the Red Sea so the Israelites could cross, and he brought it back on the Egyptians, destroying them and displaying his ultimate power. The people were saved not because of any strength on their part or Moses's, but entirely because of God. Thanks so much for joining me once again for A Moment in History.